Hello and welcome to another episode of the Best You interview series. It's Gary here again. Thank you as always for joining me. And today I'm joined by Farzin Mazinani to discuss the work he is currently engaged in on joyful fix quantum healing. And don't worry at all if you don't know what that is. By the end of today's podcast, you will have a much better idea. Farzin is an award-winning author and a dedicated joyfulness transformation coach and mentor, certified emotion coach practitioner, certified belief clearing practitioner, and the creator of a modality called Joyful Fix Quantum Healing. I'll get that right by the end, I promise. Across his many years of coaching and mentoring, he has designed various programs and helped many people transform their physical, emotional, and mental well-being, and has also authored and published his book called Joyful Fix: How to Break Free from Stagnation and Move Forward in Life. Farzin, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. That's a pleasure to be here.
Excellent. Now, a thing that I didn't go into detail on in your bio there was how some health challenges that you had experienced in the past played a key pivotal role in your overall story to get to where you are today. Can you tell me a little bit about the health challenges and journey that inspired you to pursue this line of work?
Sure. So I'm just going to go briefly on three types of pains that I experienced in my life. And I know a lot of people have those kind of pains as well. So the first type of pain that I experienced was an inner pain, actually. It wasn't the physical pain. So that pain started at age 12. So I had that pain of not knowing what is the meaning of life, why am I here, what I'm doing in here, and those kind of things. I wasn't satisfied with the situation that I had in life. On the outer perspective, I had everything, it was fine. But on the inner, I was looking for that joy element that it was missing in my life. So I went through the hassle, the process of finding the joy. So it took me 12 years. What happened was during that 12 years, I went through different paths, about 20 different paths in that 12 years. And I went through thousands of books. I had thousands of books in my personal library because I had to find the information. What is the meaning of joy? What is the purpose in life? And those kind of things. I was so frustrated after 12 years of going through all the things. I was even more confused because sometimes you know something and then you find out it's more than things that you don't know when you go through that. So I was in that stage that I was more confused, frustrated. So I decided to make a radical decision. I went to a room, a windowless room. I turned the lights off and I said to myself, I'm going to stay in here until I find the answers. Because I couldn't find the answers through those paths and books. I don't have any choice. I have to find it. So it took me 5 days. When I came out, I found out because it was all absolute darkness. I turned the light off. It was absolute darkness, absolute silence. But something happened at the end of that process. So in the middle of those darkness and silence, I started seeing the light and hearing the sound that was coming from inside me, not from outside.
Yeah.
And I went through a process of getting warmer. I felt a spark in my heart as well at first, and it spread through my whole body. I started getting the heat that was coming from inside, was sweating badly, and started to shake. And all of a sudden, it was light. It was heavenly music everywhere that's coming from inside. So I found that that was the inner joy that I was looking for. I was looking for it on the outside world, but that was inside me all the time, I was looking for it in the wrong place. So, and I felt a connection towards everything and everyone in life. So it changed the direction of my life. And then a few years after, I had another experience. I injured my back, the upper back at work. And it was a big injury. I went through therapy for a while. I was better. But the problem was that I carried that chronic pain for 15 years. So that is the second type of pain that I'm talking about. The first one was the inner pain.
Yeah.
That was resolved with the inner joy. But the second pain was chronic. It means that it lasted more than 6 months. It was actually 15 years. Every week almost I had to go to therapy, physiotherapy, and so on to release the frozen neck to be able to operate normally. And so nobody could help me. Nobody could tell me what is the reason for that. Nothing was showing up on MRIs. The doctors, the specialists would give me medications, it wasn't effective. So I was frustrated. And a friend of mine came and said that maybe I can help you. I was suspicious at first. I said, nobody could help me. No specialist could help me during this 15 years. You're saying that you can help me. So she said, there's no harm. Let's try something. So she gave me a couple of phone calls and she released the trapped emotions that I was carrying within me. So sometimes there is a physical accident, but there is the consequences because at the time of that accident that I had where I was working, I lost my job. I was frustrated about how can I provide for my family and so on, that nervousness, that fear, and those kind of things. And sometimes we don't process those kind of emotions completely. So they become trapped emotions. It means that there's an emotion that is not processed completely. And we carry that kind of vibration with us. So it affects even the physical organs. So I had that problem and she released those emotions and I was fine. So I was expecting to get the pain next week, but it never came back. And she said that I see you can do the same thing for others. You have the talent. So it changed the direction of my life again. So I started going through that process to find about the subconscious mind and its operation and find about the trapped emotions and its effect. And there was something else I found about too, that was the heart wall. So what is the heart wall? Heart wall is when you are dealing with a situation like a trauma or something like that. It might be grief, it might be relationship breakup or something like that. We are under pressure. Our heart is under pressure. So we protect our heart subconsciously. We build a chamber around our heart, which is called heart wall. What we use those breaks, which is called trapped emotions. We grab those trapped emotions and build a chamber around our heart to protect it. And then what happens is that years is passed from that problem that we have, but we still carry that heart wall. It's like being under attack in a country and we go to the bomb shelter to protect ourselves. Now 10 years has passed and we are still living in that bomb shelter.
Yeah.
The same feeling. And I realized that based on Dr. Bradley Nelson's research, more than 93% of people have the heart wall. So it is the self-made prison that we're living in. That's why we cannot find our purpose, because we are not connecting with ourselves. We have that chamber, we have that wall, we have that separation. We are not connecting with life. We are not connecting with others. We have those limitations. We have those blockages that are inner blockages that is affecting physical, emotional, and mental health. So that was the chronic pain that I was facing. And the third type of pain that sometimes we face is it's called acute pain. Acute pain is something that is you're facing right now, the pain that I am having right now. And I had that as well. So I went through a lot of different types of pain. The first one was the inner pain. The second type was the chronic pain. And the third pain was acute pain. So I broke my scapula, which is a big bone in our shoulder covered with a muscle. I break that scapula in an ski accident. I went skiing and I fell down. I broke my scapula. I went to the doctor. It was a lot of pain. I couldn't move my arm. So I went to the doctor, a surgeon, and he said that I don't know how you managed to break this because I've only seen this kind of fracture in car accidents. How did you manage to do this? And then that was a realization for me that that is a message from life because sometimes I get the gifts in an ugly paper from my friend, which is called life. I
Yeah.
don't see life as a threat. I see life as my friend. So sometimes it gives me some gifts. So that gift is wrapped in an ugly paper. So I knew something is in there for me. So I digged in. I said to myself, I cannot use my left arm. It's useless. I cannot even move it. I'm going to be using my right arm. What can I do with that? So I said that I have a book that is not done, started, that is overdue for a long time. It is within me. I'm just going to start writing it. So soon as I start writing it, something magical happened. I experienced something that I mentally knew about, but I never had the direct experience. That is the state of flow or being in a zone. So I would go to the basement, start writing for 12 hours, 14 hours, and I noticed that I'm not taking the painkillers the doctor has given me because they couldn't cast my shoulder. They
Right.
said they gave me some strong painkillers that you're going to take these for months, so it's going to be healed by itself. And I noticed that while I'm writing, I'm not taking those painkillers because I'm forgetting about pain, I'm forgetting about hunger, I'm forgetting about sleeping, everything. I'm just focusing on whatever I'm doing. So that was the classic definition of being in the zone, being in the flow state.
Yeah.
And it was a nice experience. I produced a lot of writing, sent it to the publisher, and they forced me to just go through the editing and anything because they said that it's just one book. It's not 10 books. Why did you write that many pages? So the editing took longer than writing the book, believe it or not.
Wow.
So yeah, it was published fast. So I went through those three different pains that we usually experience in our life. Sometimes it's inner pain, sometimes it's chronic pain, and sometimes it's acute pain. But they are helping us to grow.
It's such an incredible story when you put it in the timeline of a story in terms of how each affected you at given points in your life. One of the other topics that I was going to ask you about today was stagnation and the challenges that people face in terms of, being challenged with, stagnating on their own. And there's three different types that you mention. Are the three types of stagnation similar to the three types of pain?
So I'm gonna explain about those three types of stagnation. They can be related to the three types of pains. So the first type that I mentioned in my book, I call it the static stagnation. Sometimes we face some changes in our life. It might be a divorce, it might be the loss of someone, loved one, or it might be even moving to a new place or changing job or something like that. And then it is so big, that change, that we don't want to face that. And what happens is that we go to the freeze mode. We don't like to get out of bed because we don't want to face the reality that we are experiencing in our life.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that sometimes we have a lot of things to do and then we go asleep? We go waste our time.
Yeah.
That is the mechanism that we have. It is called static stagnation. We stop, we freeze like a deer and a headlight. We
Yeah.
just go to that freeze mode. So it is a type of protection. We want to protect ourselves, so we go to the freeze mode. So I call it static stagnation. We all have faced that in our life in some time or another. So the second type of stagnation is I call dynamic stagnation, which means that we are moving, but we are moving on a circle, like a hamster wheel.
Right.
So that is the promise that society and life gives us, that you go to a school, you get a degree, you get a job, a secure job, and live your life and family and things and stuff like that. So our life goes like this. We get up, go to work, do the things, the regular things that we do at work, come back home, do the things that we do normally at home, go to sleep, the next day, the same, boring, no impact, no excitement, no achievement, nothing. And then we look back, our life is gone. So I call that dynamic stagnation. And because we are moving, but we are moving on a circle.
Yeah.
So what is the third type of stagnation? So on the dynamic stagnation, we want to be on the safe side of the equation. We want to be on the comfort zone, in the comfort zone. We stay in the comfort zone. We don't do anything spectacular because we want to stay in the comfort zone to be safe. So sometimes we say that, no, I don't want that kind of life. It is a waste of life. I want excitement. I want impact. I want to do things that I like to do. So we say that I'm going to get out of the comfort zone. What should I do? I say that I'm going to try to do something. As soon as I say I'm trying something, it means that I'm not going to be doing it. That's just an excuse. Trying, we find out it doesn't work. Then we say that I'm going to do my best. So what happens that we are doing our best, and then there is a barrier that comes is larger than us, then we say that I cannot go through that because I did my best, but I'm not strong enough to go through that barrier. So we stop. So doing our best is not going to work. So what is the choice that we have? So a lot of motivational speakers has, with a good intention, has told us that when you want to get out of your comfort zone, you have to never look back and you just move forward and go forward no matter what, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Go through hustle and grind to achieve your goal. And that is the path that a lot of us take. Entrepreneurs, people who are high achievers, we all take that path. So what is the problem with that? The problem is that we might be able to go on top. We build a business, we build something, but the problem is that we might be standing on top with the cost of our health, the cost of our relationships, or the cost of our happiness. Because we go through a lot of stress and anxiety to build a business, and that takes a toll on our physical body. So we're not going to be healthy. And we spend a lot of time to build that business. So we're not spending enough time with our loved ones. So we lose the relationship that we had with our loved ones. So it affects our relationships. And then everybody says that you have to achieve those goals to be happy, but it's actually the other way around. We have to be happy to go and stay on top. So we go and achieve the goals, we're standing on top, but we feel empty. So we go through that process. So I call that inner stagnation. That is the third type of stagnation. We go through that process with hustle and grind. Why? Because we are battling with our subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is like a train that's going south, and I'm in the train. And I decide to go north. I'm still in the train, start moving north, walking towards north. What happens? The train is going south, so I'm going to end up south. So I don't have enough power to fight with my subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind, when it does a process, every second, 20 to 40 neurons are fired, 20 to 40 million neurons are fired in my brain for the subconscious mind process. For conscious process, when I want to do something consciously, 20 to 40 neurons instead of 20 to 40 million neurons are fired per second in my brain. Wow. So the operation that subconscious mind has a million times more power, million times more speed, the capacity. So, and what is subconscious mind? Some people ask. It's all the programming, the self-image that I have, the belief that I have, the habits that I have, the emotions that I have, all those, the images that I carry with myself. Those are the subconscious programmings that I have to fight with. I give you an example. I'm sitting in here, and then somebody says that you won the lottery. And I'm so happy that because I won the lottery. Then what happens is that after a couple of years, I have looked and I've seen that I've lost all the money that I win with the lot. That is the statistics. A lot of people who win the lottery do some stupid in a few years and lose all the money that they won. Why? Because it is not matching with their subconscious image that the self-image that they had before. Because the new reality is different than the self-image that they had. So they do self-sabotage. They want to go back to the self-image that they are more comfortable with, the old friends and so on. So they do self-sabotage unconsciously. So even if we be able to win the battle towards the success with hustle and grind, we lose the war. We win the battle, but we lose the war.
Yeah.
And that is the scratches that we carry and the problems that we carry, the relationship breakouts and those kind of things. So that might be not the best choice. And a lot of high achievers are in that state right now that they are successful, but something is missing. So we have to find a cure for that kind of problem. And that is what I'm focusing on, to help people to be aligned. Imagine if your subconscious mind be aligned with your conscious decisions and your heart be into whatever you are doing as well. And then you have some inspired actions. It's like a happy family in a train, and we're all moving towards a exotic destination. We're enjoying the ride. So everybody is talking about enjoying the journey of success. Nobody gives you a clue how we can enjoy the journey of success, because success for many people means hustle and grind and fighting and battling and those kind of things. Me might be a wounded warrior at the end who doesn't have enough energy to celebrate the success. So that is not the best place to be.
Yeah. I saw a thing on LinkedIn recently. It was a small vignette by Sarah Blakely from Spanx, and she talked about business and her philosophy of business not being a battle, not being a war, not being a competition in terms of you win, someone else loses. And she showed a clip from, I think it was Shark Tank or one of these kind of business shows, where one of the other sharks was saying it's a battle, win at all costs, do what you need to do. And she said that's fundamentally not the way that have approached my business now, nor will I do so in the future. It's such a great kind of segue into that. So if I can get all this stuff that you're talking about here, all this very important, emotional and neurological things aligned, then I can win the lottery. Then I can live a wonderful life, because I'm sure the lottery winners had a fantastic time between, the $10 million and then the zero again. And that's what I think about. But it would be nice to do it a little bit more purposefully. So can you tell me a bit more about the book in terms of Joyful Fix and what you want people to know, to be able to do after reading the book?
Okay, so uh, I give you one example that I have in the book to help people to go through the path of success with joy and ease. So there is a 10-step process in the book, but I'm going to summarize it in 3 steps because it's much easier to remember the 3 steps than the 10 steps.
Yeah.
So what is that 3 steps? Imagine that you want to achieve something. Soon as you start going towards something, your subconscious mind says that sit down, you don't need to go anywhere because it's not safe in there. It's like a bodyguard that's preventing you from moving, so it makes you sit down. And
Yeah.
you have to go there, but your bodyguard doesn't let you. So you have to do something about it. So usually when we have a goal to achieve, we have to break it down into smaller chunks.
Yeah.
Those are called needle moving actions. The things that you do that gets you closer to your target. So we all know what those actions are. And even if we don't know, we can ask other people, or we can even ask ChatGPT. It's going to list all the tasks that we need to do to reach our goal. So it's easy. Everybody knows them. But we have the list of tasks, moving actions. As soon as we start doing them, we are stopped by our subconscious mind. The alarm goes off that you have to stop right away. Fear of success comes, fear of failure comes, all the fears all over the place. It prevents us from proceeding. So, what can we do? I suggest that we can change the label. How? From task to game. And we are all programmed to play game and have fun. It's the difference between problem and challenge. It's the same thing. Problem means looking at the negative side of it. Challenge means looking at the positive side of it.
Yes.
So we change the label from task to game. So we have a bunch of games to play. It helps us to go to our destination. Now, the first step of that three-step process is game plan.
Yeah.
What is game plan? Before we go to sleep, what we do is normally we impose our subconscious mind with a bunch of problems, fears, anxiety, and blaming and rejecting ourselves and those kind of things. So we mentalize ourselves a lot and give that delivered into our subconscious mind, because before we go to sleep, we are in the alpha mode. So our subconscious mind's guard is wide open. So whatever we put in, it just absorbed it. And then when we wake up tired out. We didn't do anything yet. The day is not started yet, but we are tired out. Why? Because we programmed it in our subconscious mind somehow before we go to sleep. So we're going to reverse that process. We're going to start with game plan. Game plan means before you go to sleep, you just review a couple of those games that you're planning to play tomorrow. And then with the thinking of planning and just preparing yourself with those games, you go to sleep. You just impose those programs, the little programs, into your subconscious mind. And then the second step is, soon as you wake up, before you even open your eyes, we do warm up. For every sport, before you do the sport seriously, you have to do the warm up. You have to prepare your body. So that is the same thing. We do the warm up for that game that we want to play. So what is that warm up? It is called mental rehearsal. You imagine yourself playing that game in your head, and you go through all the ups and downs, and at the final you are standing on the podium and celebrating and having a good time and good feeling. You bring the feeling element, you have the images, everything with your eyes closed. So that is the second time that we are programming our subconscious mind, because the second time that subconscious mind is wide open, the guard is wide open, we can just punch whatever we want into our subconscious mind, is when we wake up and we are not opened our eyes yet. So that is the second time. We take advantage of those two golden times. Then what is the third process? The third process is easy. It's just playing the game during the day.
Yeah.
And because we prepared our subconscious mind, it is easy to play that game now. And we play and play and play day after another, having fun. And then all of a sudden, that building is built. We are on that destination that we were looking for. And we are having fun in the way as well. That is the definition of enjoying the journey.
Yeah. And in terms of that correlation to your modality of joyful fix quantum healing. Is that a key component part of the quantum healing?
Yeah, it is one of the key component parts, but there are a lot of other components as well. Because what I do for people is I can remove their blockages that they have. Some of the blockages are emotional blockages,
Yeah,
some of them are mental blocks. For example, the limiting beliefs that we have that might be very strong for some people.
yeah,
And I neutralize those limiting beliefs. I remove those trapped emotions. I remove the heart wall, and they are a different person. They are a new person. But as I was doing those kind of things, I noticed that our consciousness should grow with that process as well. So that's like giving someone a bunch of money, just winning a lottery, and they might just go back later. So what I do now in the process is that I bring their consciousness on an upper level so they see things differently. They have that change in the inner, the blockages are removed, and then they see life with a different perspective. I give you an example. There are different ways that we can look at life. Some people say that life is like a jungle. We have to be prepared. Everybody can just harm us from anywhere and stuff like that. When we have that kind of perspective, we are always on the fight or flight mode. And it's a chain reaction, and it starts from amygdala in our brain and it comes to the adrenal gland. So there are cortisol levels or stress hormones or something like that gets high, and we are under stress all the time because we are facing a challenge, a danger, imminent danger in our life that sometimes we perceive it as an imminent danger, but it is not like that. But we perceive it as that. And then what happens is that it creates triggers that fight or flight. So we're always in that stress mode. We're always in that pressure.
yeah,
So all the problem comes. Well, if we change our definition of life from hostile to friendly. We say that life is my friend. Even if I receive something that I don't like, I know that it's a gift
yeah,
wrapped in an ugly paper.
yeah,
And we had all those moments that blessing in disguise, that
yes,
we had that experience in the past. It was very hard at the moment, but later on, a few couple of years later, I found out that was the best thing that could happen in our
yeah,
life. We all had that moment. So if we change our view, we see life as our friend. So it changes everything. We face the friendly side of life all the time. We're paying attention to the friendly side of life and we're receiving that. Whatever we pay attention is like a magnifying glass.
yes,
It magnifies that. So with that little shift in definition from hostile to universe, a lot of things changes. The same goes for example, success. If I say that success means reaching my goal, then I'm gonna be miserable most of my life. Because how many times in my life I'm on top of in that moment that I'm on top of that podium. So
yeah,
if success is defined as just those moments, I'm gonna be miserable most of my life. So let's change the definition. If I say success is moving towards a worthy goal with joy, it means that as long as I'm moving towards my goal, I'm successful. So I can be successful most of my life.
yeah,
So change your definition, change your life. So those kind of things that shift in perspective is necessary for our expansion, not just removing the blocks. The removing blocks are necessary as well, and that shift in our consciousness is necessary. So the combination of those creates something that I called joyful fixed quantum healing. So
yeah,
that is holistic type of healing. It's not just one aspect, not just physical.
yeah,
It's physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. It's all aspects are leveling up together. Otherwise, we're going to have a dilemma of burnouts.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I do speak with clients a lot in terms of their self-talk. And I love the analogy that life is your friend and life is giving you a gift. Sometimes it's wrapped beautifully, and sometimes it's not wrapped at all, and sometimes it's wrapped terribly. And it made me think of the negative self-talk that human beings seem predisposed to say to themselves. And some of the stuff that you would say to yourself, for example, you would never say to another human being, ever, even your mortal enemy. However, for some reason, for some people, it's okay for them to say it to themselves. And then you're already starting the day, starting the week, starting the month or year on a very negative connotation. It's very difficult to recover from that. So I see that sliver of opportunity there to be able to use that gift analogy and use that friend analogy and to be able to help people just raise their conscious awareness as we go forward. So you've talked quite a bit about barriers as part of one of the facets of the quantum healing. What would you say are the most common barriers that you see in your clients that you work with?
So every one of us, on average, carry more than 200 trap emotions. And that's a lot. And
Wow.
some of them are repetitive.
Yeah.
For example, let's say I have the trap emotion of shame, which is very common. We are taught by the society, by our parents, by our teachers that we have to be shameful for the mistakes that we've made before and those kind of things. The guilt and shame is very common. And those are very low energy. So they bring us down very fast.
Yeah.
So we have those kind of energies and we are vulnerable to that kind of filter because it acts as a filter. So we see life as that. And so we start accumulating more of those. There are more. There are failure. For example, we all face failure in life. And then we start developing that as a trapped emotion within ourselves. So we accuse ourselves, we blame ourselves for those kind of moments, but it's just the energy that we are carrying. There are confusion, there are depression, there are frustration, a lot of things that we carry, fears and heartache, insecurity, a lot of emotions that we carry. So everybody on average is carrying more than 200 of those trapped emotions. And so it's very common and problematic. So if we start noticing those, writing them down, journaling them,
Yeah.
we are exposing them to light. Our self-talks are very revealing about what we have in our subconscious mind. So we have to write them down and journal them in order to just go through them and process them completely. So the other problem that I see a lot of people have is the heart wall that I talked about. Heart wall is more than 93% of people have the heart wall. So they're living in a self-made jail. They cannot communicate with themselves. They cannot communicating with others. They cannot forgive themselves. If I don't forgive myself, how can I expect others to forgive me?
Yeah.
Because I am spreading that message that I don't deserve to be forgiven because I don't forgive myself. If I can't love myself, how can I expect others to love me?
Yeah.
Because I'm spreading the message that I don't deserve to be loved. So everything starts from ourselves first. So we start from there, expose those to light, go through them, process them completely, finish the process, because what is trap emotion? It is unprocessed emotion. So we finish the process and then release it. And when you release it, it is gone forever and you're free. And it's a very exciting experience. I've seen miracles in people's life by removing their heart wall and removing those emotions that they carry in their physical body, emotional, mental, happiness, and relationship, and health and wealth, and every aspect of life. Actually, I've created a quiz for people because those problems show up in one of those four aspects of life. They are health, wealth, relationship, and happiness. And those are like the four tires of a car. Imagine that you have a car that one of the tires are flat. You cannot drive, you have to fix it. So same thing goes for those four aspects: health, wealth, relationship, and happiness. So I've created a quiz for people to find out which aspect needs more attention. So they go through those 20 questions, answer those, and then it gives them a score. It is called life quality assessment. And they get a score based on whatever that they are facing in life. And it gives them the priorities that where they should pay attention. And they can start from there. That's a good starting point for people if they want to proceed towards success with joy and ease. So if people can go, so in order to get access to that quiz, they can go to my website, which is joyfulfix.com. On the contact page of that website, there is information for that quiz. They can take that quiz, and they can even record their voice in there and request for free consultation and so on. So based on whatever they did, I give them the scenario that where they are right now and where they want to be in life and the barriers that are in their way. And I give them the roadmap to go through those barriers. They can take that route themselves, or I can help them out to go through that with joy and ease. So, but that is a good quiz to take because it gives you something tangible. It
Yes.
gives you a number, actually.
Excellent. And I'll put that link in the blurb for today's pod. Before we wrap up today, you mentioned journaling and the importance of writing things down as you navigate the day. On top of journaling or in conjunction with journaling, I should say, what would you say are other daily habits or practices that we could adopt to move closer to our own definition of success that you've seen other people have success with?
Mhm. That is a good question. So what I recommend people is to have the mindset of doing things that they've never done before. Because we are mostly in automatic mode, on autopilot.
Yeah.
We do things that we're more comfortable with. But if we start adding one thing a day, things that we've never done before, we're expanding our capacity. It helps a lot. And the other thing that people can do is change their view, see life as a screen, not a projector. Because whatever I see on the outside is the result of whatever I have on the inside.
Yeah.
So that might be the best indicator for us because we see something in somebody. We start judging that person that he is or she is jealous or she is lazy or he is lazy. It means that we have something within ourselves. That's why we're noticing that specification in that person. So
Yeah.
we start moving inside and finding that element and dealing with that. And then on the outside, everything is going to be better. Because if we have a movie and we don't like the movie and we scratch the screen, the movie is still playing.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any change. We cannot fight with the screen,
Yeah.
but we can change the movie.
Yeah.
So whatever that we are seeing on the outside is just a reflection that what we have on the inside.
Yeah.
That's why people see things differently. In my book, I have an example that few people are passing a crossroad. Someone is a car works in a car dealership. So he noticed all the cars that are passing by, models and the brands and the, the things in the cars. So he is noticing those. The other person is in the building in this industry, and he is a builder. He is passing the crossroad, watching all the buildings that are cracked or have some problems that need some repairs, paying attention to those. And the other person is a lady who is in the fashion industry, and she is looking at people, what they have what they are wearing, and the shoes, the clothes, and all whatever that they have as a fashion items, and she's noticing those, seeing nothing else. And the other person had an argument at the job, so he is still in that conversation that he had with his boss, is seeing nothing except whatever the conversation that he had. So four people are passing that crossroad, and four different experiences that they have, totally different, not even related. So life is a screen, is not a projector. And when we notice that, it helps us to find things about ourselves that we never discovered before.
Absolutely. I love that. Just the ability to literally visualize that circumstance where you come together as four individual people with their individual lenses specific to something acute that just happened, or their industry, their career, their biases, whatever. I really love that the ability for someone just to be able to picture that in their mind's eye, to get an expansive thought process going, that there are other people with other things going on the same as you, and you can do something about that in terms of your navigation of that, with limited or zero judgment, included. So yeah, that's fantastic. This has been absolutely brilliant. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. How can listeners find out a little bit more about you?
So they can go to my website, which is joyfulfix.com.
Okay.
And in there are some information. For example, the heart wall that I was talking about, there is a blog post that I have about heart wall. What are the symptoms? How can they find if they have heart wall? Because as I said, 93% of people have a heart wall, and it's a big barrier between themselves and having joyful life.
Yeah.
So there's some content in there, and they can go to the contact page and take that quiz and find more about themselves that way. And then they can record their voice. It comes to me as a private and secure message. And then I can connect with them and just help them out with the process that they are going. It doesn't matter which stage of life they are. I've worked with many successful people who are on top of the ladder of success, but empty inside, broken relationships, health issues, and so on. Because it is not the pleasant way to go through life with hustle and grind. We can go through it with joy and ease. And that is my message. And when we change our definition, we change our life. It can be as easy as that.
Yeah. I love it. Farzin, thank you very, very much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing your journey and your ongoing successes.
Thank you. And by the way, the link to my book is in that website as well. It is published, it is on Amazon. But when people order that book, when they communicate with me, as a bonus, I give them the free audiobook for that as well, because that is mostly how I consume books and material. I like to give that chance to others as well.
Tremendous. Wonderful. Thanks again.